If you trace back to Trump's pivot on Ukraine, it came right after his state visit to the UK. And Britain's really been making this case that Ukraine is actually doing much better than it is in the fighting, that Russia's been, it's on its back heels, it's on its knees. The regime is very close to being delegitimized. The economy is very close to collapsing. Of course, they've been saying that for 2 or 3 years. And then the Americans usually adopt this same strident rhetoric. And I think he was sold this narrative, resold it during his trip to the UK. We just need to hang in there a little bit longer, Donald. Look at all this drone tech that we have. We're going to swarm the Russians with this new drone tech. Operation Spider's Web was nothing. Wait till you see what we've got next. A number of Russian refineries have been taken offline because of drone attacks from Ukraine. You know where this is going to lead. At some point, there is a breaking point that Russia has where they're saying, okay, at that point, we're going to take out the entirety of Ukraine's fuel infrastructure. We're going to put you into fuel poverty if you continue this, and then we'll see what happens on the battlefield. That's where it's headed. And that level of escalation, when you start getting into that level of escalation, or then Ukraine starts hitting deep into Russian territory or using ATACMS or God forbid, Tomahawks, Storm Shadows and whatnot, then it's going to be, and Russia has said, we're going to retaliate and hit the source of the threat. The source of the threat, if it's in Romania, if it's in Poland, if it's somewhere in Europe or even in NATO territory, as they like to call it. They like to call it NATO territory, as Jan Stoltenberg famously coined. Then what? They could drag us into Transnistria and Moldova. All they have to do is stage some kind of a provocation to draw Ukraine into Transnistria, and then all of a sudden, the whole thing is inflamed again. And so now we have this, the scene is set for potentially another front being opened up here. And that would be the mechanism by which Zelensky would then go back to Washington, and the press, you can imagine the free-for-all, the chest puffing and backslapping when the press and the entire bureaucratic elite in the West get behind this new front in Moldova. Then they're going to be the money, the weapons, give Zelensky whatever he needs. And we're going to be back to 2022 again. And so, and then how long is that going to last at that point? And what will be the cost of that? Where is it going to lead us? That's the danger of escalation.